Yes, guys, I'm Sai. Welcome to Cardiff City World. Here we go. Let's talk about the weekend. There's lots to talk about, actually, apart from the game as well. There's lots of bits and pieces going around. There's lots of bits and pieces going on. So let's discuss it all, as we always do on the Sunday evening. There's a couple of things that I want to get to first and foremost. Excuse me, before we get into the game. I will say, however, welcome to new members over the last couple of days. Thank you very much. It's a good week to join because Wednesday we're announcing our next City Legends live event for which members will get access to tickets from Wednesday morning through till Thursday at 11 a.m. So the members will get exclusive access to those tickets for 24 hours. Before they go on sale to the public. So get involved. Hopefully see you there. It's going to be a belter. It's going to be a classic. Really, really looking forward to another great night. Obviously, we've done many now. We've done Andy Campbell. We've done Darren Pearce. We've done Michael Chopra, Joe Ledley, Craig Bellamy. And there's plenty more to come this year. So please do check it out. And please do come along, say hello. And we'll have a look. But yes, indeed, another win. And I think just while we wait for some of the latecomers to join us in the chat and stuff, I will say as well, I titled this episode, Points Over Performances is What's Important. And it absolutely is. But I thought for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes in the second half, I thought we were very, very good. Either side of that, maybe not so good, but I thought we were relatively comfortable as well once we got those goals, and we really probably should have been 3 or 4 up. We should have scored 3 or 4 goals. So, on another day, it was much more comfortable, but it is what it is. So, I wanted to start off with Yaku Meite's statement. He's made a statement kind of explaining why he hasn't been acknowledging fans after games, things like this. Clearly not happy. And in his statement, he kind of says like he gets a lot of DMs, lots of abuse, lots of racist abuse, gets tagged in a lot of stuff. Like, I have to say, right, I will never ever understand, right, I'll never understand like abusing your own players. I'll never understand like tagging a footballer or a celebrity and like calling them names or giving them abuse. It's just bizarre to me. Like, I just don't understand it like at all. But like, if you're a Cardiff fan and you're DMing our own players like abuse and stuff like this, I don't know what you're hoping to achieve, and you're a bit of a bell, to be honest. However, saying that, like, what I will say is, we've been critical of players on the channel throughout this year, throughout this season. Sometimes by individually, sometimes collectively. But you know what it is, right? Or what it never is it's never personal. It's never name calling. It's never against them as a human being. It's never some sort of vendetta or like like an agenda. It's purely based on what we see, what we all see. And it was bizarre yesterday. I went on the socials like after the game, and there was a couple of people saying like, oh, Meite was this and Meite was that. Like, I agree generally that he hasn't been particularly good this year. And I generally have the opinion that as a team, we look a bit more fluid and a bit better when he's not there or not in the team. But what you can say is he generally gives 100%. And yesterday, I thought he did a really, really good job of putting himself about, winning the ball, won a couple of free kicks. He worked hard, and I thought for what we needed from him in that small space of time that he was on, I thought he was pretty good. I thought he was one of his better little cameos. Yes, there was the thing in the corner when we're trying to keep it in the corner, and him and Joe Rawls kind of got a bit mixed up, and it goes out for a throw. But I mean, that's not the end of the world. Happens, and ultimately, it wasted a few more seconds. But like, what is wrong with you? Like, if you're abusing people on social media anyway, but like, what's wrong with you if you're a Cardiff fan and you're not only like abusing people on social media, but you're tagging them in it or you're DMing them in it? Like, seriously, take a look at yourself. Like, really, just don't understand it whatsoever. And look, in this show tonight, I'm going to talk about football. And there's one or two players who I'm going to critique their performance as footballers. It's not personal. And I won't be calling them shit and this and that and calling them names. I will just be talking about the football match that we all watched yesterday. It's not complicated. It's not hard to be a decent human being. I used to have a motto: don't be a dick. It's not difficult. And frankly, like, if we saw any such comments in our chats, depending on what was said, obviously, but like, if it was some of the more serious end of it, you'd be banned straight away. Don't need it, like, whatsoever. Not interested in it. Just don't be a dick. Like, just talk about the football. We're on the up. I recorded a little match reaction with a fellow City fan this morning, with Tony Rivers, which will be out tomorrow lunchtime. Sorry, about 1 o'clock. That's a nice little pod, good little pod. And even like we were talking, like, we're on the up. We've got a lot of positives coming. I think there's going to be at least 2 players coming in. Sadly, I think it looks like Cipriano, the midfielder from Peterborough, probably won't happen, but it might happen in the summer. Peterborough, we said this all along. I said this at the start of the window when we were linked with Ricky J. Jones. Peterborough are very, very good at negotiating transfers out of their club, and they're very difficult to deal with. And I found it very difficult to believe that we'd be able to negotiate a deal for Ricky J. Jones or Cipriano in the January window, because they're fighting relegation, or they're just above the relegation zone. And even though they're out of contract, 3 of their best players are out of contract in Cipriano, Poku's their top scorer, and Ricky J. Jones. You were only ever going to get them out of there in a deal that suited Peterborough, which is also why I said maybe Cardiff should offer a bit of money and a player, whether it was like an Atete on loan or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, I wanted to address the Mate thing. And like I said, if you're one of those people who's been DMing him abuse and stuff like that, like, have a bit of a look at yourself, like, you know, because, you know, get to the gym, get outside, touch some grass, get some fresh air, socialize with some real people, because that is just bizarre behavior. But anyway, and by the way, I'm not backtracking, but I don't think Mate's performances as a footballer for Cardiff City, I don't think they've been very good this year on the whole. He's had the odd game where he's been decent, but it's unfortunate because he's a human being with feelings. And if you're getting like DM'd abuse and called names constantly and tagged by your own fans constantly, then of course it's going to affect you. And unfortunately, I think he's, understandably in some ways, he's kind of lumping all fans in with the small minority. There's obviously thousands who are going to get behind him. And I'm sure people will get behind him now over the next couple of games. And good, because I think he should know that regardless of performance level, as long as he puts the work in and the attitude's right, then the fans will be behind you. The fans will back you. Ultimately, like, it's one of them where, like, fans, I said this the other week, ultimately, like, if we go down, we go down, but let's go down fighting and stuff like that. But also, all fans want from players is 100%. If you give 100% and you're not good enough on the day, that's fine. But if you don't give 100%, that's when fans, I think, and media and people can rightly criticise. Saying that, I don't think, on the whole, attitude and effort has been an issue with Yakou Mate, personally. So, let's talk about the football. A big result for Cardiff yesterday. Home to Derby County. Derby County right behind us in the league. It was a big game. I thought first half we were a bit not sluggish, but we were just off, like split second off in our movements, in our link-up play. Maybe a little bit sloppy in possession. Derby, obviously, you'd expect, they're going to be at it. They're going to be sharp. They're going to be wanting. They'd lost 5-6 on the. There was 6 game on the bounce that they lost yesterday to us, but they'd lost 5 on the bounce. They had injury problems. but they were going to still be up for it because they knew if they got a point, they could drag us back down towards them. So we're up to 18th. I think, but you can't take your foot off the gas. Cardiff have got to keep going now, and you can build on this. They've got 50 points to be played for. So, there's plenty to play for. With the late goals that we conceded over the last month or so, if we had held on in those games, I think I read that we could be like 9th or 10th in the league. This championship is insane. Like, if you get a winning run together, you shoot up that league. So, yeah. Right, let's talk a little bit about the starting lineup first and foremost. I was pretty happy with it. There wasn't like anywhere or anyone where I was like, "Oh, that's a bit of a shout." I had a little bit of a concern with Perry NG that maybe he would struggle at left back a little bit, and not through any fault of his own, but he's very right-footed, and it's difficult when you're playing on that left-hand side because he's always got to he's trying to put it on his right foot. And he did struggle in the first half. Anything on his left foot, it wasn't coming off. It was, it was slicing off his foot and stuff. But you couldn't fault his effort. And I think that's been the thing for me with Perry NG. I don't think he's been great since he's come back from his injury. But I think the effort's there, the level there, the commitment's there. And even like a little thing like for the Derby goal, Perry does give the ball away. And again, no, I don't necessarily, it's a strange one. Like, he gives the ball away, but I don't necessarily blame him because he brings it down on his chest. He looks for a pass rather than just booting it anywhere, which I'm always on board for. But if he's left-footed at left back, he brings it down and he puts it out wide to El Ghazi. But because he's right-footed and he's under pressure then as the ball's coming down, he plays it into a central area. And it's tricky, isn't it? Like, because really, I think the only other option with Tanner being out to play a left back was probably, either playing Will Fish, you'd have had the same issue, or Louis Giles. Do you chuck him in a big game? He's young, like 18 years old or whatever. He is, very, very good, but it's a different level in it. And I understand why they might want to not just chuck him in. And I thought Perry did all right. I just thought that he struggled a little bit with that being on the left-hand side. But effort-wise, you can't fault him. I thought Jesper Darland had a really interesting game. So the first half, Salverson from Derby, who I thought looked really sharp, really good striker, actually. He was pulling onto the back of Darland, giving him a little nudge when the ball was in the air, and then he was spinning him then, or he was putting him off balance as the ball was coming in, and he would spin him behind, or he would spin off him. But I thought second half, Jesper Darland was excellent. And I thought, fair play, that shows mental strength to not have the best first half and then go into that second half and be almost immaculate. I thought he was really, really good second half. Gutas, usual, excellent performance. And I think with those two now is they're becoming consistent. They've got a good understanding and they're very consistent. Another nice little cameo from Will Fish as well, which gives you confidence that if we do pick up injuries, he can slot in and faultlessly do a job. Rinamoto, player of the game for me again. Like, the man is sensational, and this is probably a thing to point out to people because it's the social media era, isn't it? Okay, so Yaku Mete is getting abused by his own fans. Ruben Colwell's taking loads of grief from his own fans. Probably less than 12 months ago, a lot of those same fans were telling everyone how Rinamoto's League One class, he's nowhere near the level, should be out of the club, etc., etc. In my opinion now, because O'Dowd has missed a few periods just through knocks and injuries, Rinamoto is probably one of the favourites for Player of the Year, and rightly so. So it just goes to show, like, stick with some of these players. No one's above criticism for their performance. But let's not forget that fans and what are you? Your supporters, and supporters are supposed to support. Get behind your team, get behind your boys. You know, you might think I'm going to talk about a player in a minute who was not impressed with yesterday. I thought they didn't do enough off the ball whatsoever, and I thought there was better options on the bench. But that doesn't mean that I'm critical of him as a person, or I don't think he's good enough, or I don't think he's ever going to come good for Cardiff. He just had a bit of an off day. So Joe Rose, very, very good again. And I'm pleased for Joe Rose, because another one who kind of people saying he's past it and this, that, and the other. And I kind of tried to say at the start of the season, I don't think he's the if everyone's fit and firing, I don't think he's necessarily the starting central midfielder week in, week out. But he's vital for certain games, as proved in the South Wales derby. He's vital off the bench when he's not starting. And speaking of the left, maybe Joe Rose could have been an option for that left back yesterday. I don't know. But I thought Joe Rose was pretty faultless. Callum Chambers, Mr. Consistent, very clever. And I felt for him, actually. He got that booking yesterday. And the Derby fullback, or the Derby defender, he had a really heavy touch. And Callum Chambers had read it, and he was in. And the Derby defender just fell over, and the referee fell for it and gave a free kick. Callum Chambers lost his rag, kicked the ball away, shouted at the ref, got a booking. But it must be frustrating, because the guy just fell over. But I thought both Rose and Chambers were good. Joe Rose, his passing wasn't as accurate as normal, but I think that's in part down to Derby's pressing in the midfield areas. Like, Ebo Adams is such a vital player for them. He drives them forward on and off the ball. Cash in at the back, it was superb. But in those central areas, they're pretty good. And they're certainly good off the ball in terms of the work they put in and the pressing. So I think it was difficult, and I think that's probably why Rose's passing wasn't as accurate as normal. But we just seemed like a little bit off it in the first half, like the timing of the passing, the runs. There was one where Robinson was in, and we just delayed the pass like a split second, very, very split second, and he was marginally offside. And it's just that little timing issue. But, Alex Robertson, who I've raved about, I've said before, make the most of him, etc. I thought he just looked like someone who had been ill and just was maybe struggling a bit physically. But, he wasn't bad by any means. He just was all right, and he still was involved, still, had 3 out of 3 successful dribbles, still won 5 out of 9 ground duels. He still had, blocks and tackles, still had a key pass, still was involved in the one goal. And we'll talk about the goals in a minute. But Keane Ashford, fast becoming the absolute first choice right winger for Cardiff City. And it's not, look, the final ball and the final end product will get better as he matures and he fills out a little bit and he grows as a player. But his attitude to stay wide, give me the ball and drive at the fullback. And what I really loved, I mentioned this in the Millwall game. So in the Millwall game, he had that fullback on toast when he came on, but his final ball was poor. You get that with young players sometimes, a terrible pitch as well at Millwall. But what I loved is every time he got the ball, he still drove at the fullback. He still beat the fullback. It was just that the final ball wasn't quite there for him. And he was a bit unlucky with some bobbly balls and stuff. But then yesterday, he beats his fullback. He puts a lovely ball to the back post. So, again, being aggressive and driving at the fullback. But then he puts in a lovely ball. So he's in the space of a few days, like he's improved that aspect. All right, it's only one, but it's good. Martin, I'll get to that regarding Robertson in the 10. I will get to that in a second. It's on my list, actually, of things to discuss. Callum Robinson, fast becoming the star man for me. Like, he is the guy. And he was so dangerous when he plays on the last man. One of my pet peeves with him is when he drops in deep. And for some reason, he seems to do it quite a lot when Ruben plays or when we haven't got the pace out wide. But we need him to be playing on that last man, running the channels, and because it stretches the pitch so much. But I thought he was very good. But even with him in the first half, his kind of link-up play and stuff like that was just split second off, just the timing was slightly off, Chris Willock. I was disappointed with Chris Willock's performance yesterday. I thought he wasn't great against Millwall in the first half, and then he scores a great goal, and then he looked like second half against Millwall looked like he had the bit between his teeth, looked like he wanted to take responsibility, beat his man, really kind of create. But it wasn't actually that side of his game which I was disappointed with yesterday. I thought on the ball he was all right, not great. And in the second half, that kind of did take a dip. But first half, I thought, he was okay on the ball. It was off the ball I was very disappointed with. There was several times where he gave the ball away either by passing it or by getting tackled, and just kind of walked or jogged it was disappointing. And again, though, I will point out, going back to the start of the show when we talked about Matty and stuff like that, it's never personal. It's not an attack on him as a human being. It's just what we saw. And, QPR fans told us before that he was inconsistent. He's got all the talent in the world, but he struggles for consistency. You look at the difference between him and El Ghazi. El Ghazi came on, same as against Millwall, looks motivated, looks fit, looks sharp, technically excellent. But my favourite part for El Ghazi, it wasn't even the goal, which, by the way, was sensational finish, sensational goal. In the second half, when it's 2-1, El Ghazi's sort of driving up the inside left. Perry NG overlaps him and he tries to play a through ball to him and he just overhits it. Keeper gets it. But Perry NG is by the opposition keeper. And El Ghazi sprints back to left back. And he stays there until Perry NG is back in position. That is the teamwork, the attitude, the motivation, the application that you need week in, week out, that you need in a relegation battle, and that you need to be a successful team. Now, El Ghazi, not known for his defensive work, but he did it, and he did it instantly. As soon as he overhit that pass, he was gone back to left back. That was so impressive for me. But let's talk about the goals. Callum Robinson and El Ghazi, the scorers. Callum Robinson got his goal. He deserved the goal. Lovely little lovely finish, poacher's goal. The El Ghazi goal is just everything about it is sensational. The vision from Robinson. I think it was Robertson wins the ball back, plays it in, and I saw people kind of taking for granted that finish with El Ghazi. He's got a very small corner to aim for, and what a great finish, great goal. And it looked like we might run away with it then, because immediately after that, or a few minutes after we get the second, Keir Ashford gets a massive chance, 6 games out. And, you'd expect him to score it. Of course you would. But I will say, despite the distance, it wasn't as easy a chance as it looks, because the keeper's coming out, and the defender's coming out to him. He's got to go high. He does go high. He just gets a bit too much on it. But you could see he was gutted. And hopefully, it doesn't affect his confidence. I wouldn't have thought so, judging by how he plays his football. It was there, wasn't it? It was like he had to go for it, and it was just so close in, but he had to go high. And then, again, El Ghazi misses one. I think in hindsight, you could see El Ghazi was gutted that he had missed that one, where he gets the defender slips. And I think in hindsight, he would have just dinked it over the keeper and it's a goal, isn't it? But he tries to side for it. I think it's a sensational save, actually, the El Ghazi one. I think you've got to give the keeper credit. Their keeper kept them in the game to the point where those last few minutes ended up being a bit nervy for us because there was only 1 goal in it. Whereas, if their keeper doesn't make some of those saves in the second half, we run away with it. I want to talk a little bit about Yusuf Salic. I am being super impressed with him. His link-up play, his strength, because he looks quite skinny, really. Like I'm sure he's not, especially compared to me. Like he's probably massive, but like he looks like he's quite slight, but so strong. His link-up play is good. He gets in behind. He looks like a real poacher. And what I like about it as well, there was a point. I think it was just after the El Ghazi chance, and Robinson gets it on the edge of the box, and Robinson chose to shoot, and he misses it. And what I loved was that Yusuf Salic was not afraid to go, he should have passed that. And he did the same to Ashford. And he's only been there a couple of weeks. I like that. He's got a bit about him. He's got like that mentality and that fight, as well as looking like he's got an eye for goal and he's got the work rate and the rest of it. And I like him a lot, I got to say. Matty, I thought, put a really good shift in yesterday. I thought he really helped us out by winning the ball and doing some of that aggressive, just putting them under pressure and not making it easy for him. And that's all we needed from him yesterday. I thought Will Fish did a really good job, as I mentioned earlier, when he came on, won a couple of headers, a couple of blocks. So, he defending. What I will say is this team under Rhys generally, when we're aggressive in the pressing and the way we move the ball like a bit quicker and we try and get at teams, we always look comfortable doing that. We look happy doing that. We look balanced, and everybody knows their role in the press, and everyone seems to be comfortable with it. When we're not quite at it, or we get in the lead and we sit back, that's when I think we struggle. And I understood why he changed his mind, but his Omar Rhys's initial substitutions yesterday, when he brought Fish and Matty on, he was going to bring Siopis on and Ruben on, which I thought were really clever clever substitutions, because you would have needed Siopis' energy in the middle, because Rawls and Chambers were getting a bit tired, and Ibu Adams and some of the others were getting a bit more space to drive through into. So I thought, yeah, I can see that. Get Siopis in there, get him just his energy to see out the game, and then have Ruben up with Salic to try and keep hold of the ball. It made a lot of sense to me. So I was a little bit concerned that we might end up paying for the missed chances, because we went to like a back five and we went defensive again. And then you're encouraging the opposition to get at you. You're encouraging the opposition to come at you. But yeah, I thought Derby were all right. Derby got a couple of nice players. Ibo Adams, I thought, was pretty solid. Showed why their fans love him. He carries the ball well. He drives through the midfield, wins a lot of free kicks. He's good at pressing. It's just one of them, and it just didn't work for him here. Keane Ashford for the Wales squad's a shout. I think he deserves it as well. Be interesting to see if he gets in there. Depends on, I suppose, who's fit. But let's go to some of the comments and see what you think of what I've said so far. Just while I go to the comments, again, welcome to the new members. I think it was Marcus who joined earlier today. Welcome, and thank you very much for joining. As I said, it's a really good week to become a member. Not only will you get the member show tomorrow night, you'll get the rumour mill Tuesday morning, but we also will be making an announcement relating to the live events this week as well. And you have 24 hours early access for those tickets. And those tickets are limited. There is only 100 of them, and they go pretty quick. And also, not only do they go quick, depending on the personality, they can go extremely quick. Craig Bellamy sold out in 24 hours. Joe Ledley sold out in about a week. And that was, Joe Ledley sold out. It was quite a while ago, and we certainly didn't have as many members as we have now, and we certainly weren't producing as much content and things like that. So, things have moved on from there. I expect these tickets, especially when the name is out there, because he's definitely a fan favourite from back in the day. So it's going to be interesting. So if you can become a member, please do. You can join through Cardiff City World. or you can become a patron at Ace Podcast Nation. They're exactly the same. You get exactly the same rewards. You get exactly the same exclusive content. We did a retro watch along. That QR code in the corner there is for the Patreon. And if you go into the description of this show or any of the shows, you'll see a little link which says join this channel, where you can become a member on the YouTube side of things. But again, you get exactly the same for both memberships. It's just two different ways of doing it. The other side of it as well. So we did, Paula Bandanato joined me for a retro watch along, where we watched the extended highlights of so what was the game he chose? The South Wales Derby from 2011, where Craig Bellamy scores that late goal. And it was really, really interesting because we talked about, the Dave Jones era. Did they underachieve? That squad was just insane, and some of that. But it's a really interesting way of doing it. It's different content, but it's, we wanted to give the members, because ultimately, you guys keep us going. You all keep the channel going, but the members in particular allow us to do content 7 days a week. We put out something. We have a show every day. Some days we have 2 bits of content. Then, you've got the members content as well. Plus you get the rewards, like the discount, the early access to tickets, things like that. And the more members we get, the more content we'll produce, the more we'll do. And we'll keep giving back to the members. That's the thing. So let's get to these comments. And again, thank you for the support, of course. Don't forget, radio show Wednesday live. So it's live on Cymru Sport, 7 till 9, 7 till 8. I'll be the Cardiff City World hour. It's a phone in, so you'll be able to phone up if you want to phone up. Fully interactive, but it's also being streamed on Cardiff City World. We have a host of guests. We have a panel, but we also have a couple of guests popping in to say hello, which I'm sure you'll like a couple of them. Then we have the Welsh Football Hour, 8 till 9, with the Welsh Football Hour, where we'll talk about anything from the Welsh national team to the EFL clubs to the Welsh League to grassroots football. So on Wednesday, we've got a Cardiff Met fan and a Merthyr fan joining us. It's a real, I'm really excited by it. You can listen on Cymru Sport, watch on Cardiff City World. Hope to see you all there, because it's a really exciting opportunity for me and something I've been wanting to do for a while. So I'm grateful to them for giving me the opportunity, and we're only going to keep going. So anyway, right, enough of that. So look, Holton says, who are we signing, you good people in the chat? Yes, indeed, mate. There's lots of rumours and stuff flying about. If you want updates on everything. Oh, that's a goal and a half. Wow. Sorry, just in the corner of my eye, just seen a hell of a goal. Wow. Yes, rumour mill Tuesday. We'll go through a lot of the transfer rumours and things that we've been hearing. But ultimately, it looks like this Ajax guy's coming in on loan, which is a bit of an odd one, because it feels like we could maybe got one too many central midfielders. However, the youngsters, the teenagers who play Football Manager, tell me that he's a wonder kid, or he was a wonder kid on Football Manager. So based on how detailed that game is, I can only say that that's probably encouraging. I'm going to do a bit of a scout report on him, so we can have a look at him and see what we can see on him. And I still expect us to get a forward or a winger. I just think looks like the Peterborough midfielder is probably going to be one for the summer. But we always felt like Peterborough were very difficult to negotiate with in January. Evening, Jaden. Evening, Paul. Alex Sims. Alex D. Alex D says we're going to beat the Leeds scum. Wouldn't put it past this team, mate. There's a lot of togetherness in this group. Holton says, watching the Man United game at the moment, and it's shite. Alex Simmons says, sorry, we need to know who are we signing. Well, we shall see, mate. The window doesn't shut till the 3rd of February. I expect us to get 2 in, if I'm honest. I think there'll be loans. unless something particularly enticing comes up. But I think there'll be loans. I also think, I know people won't want to hear this, but I actually think if we don't sign anyone else, I still think we'll be all right. I think Salic addressed the biggest issue we had, which we needed an alternative striker to Callum Robinson. And I got to say, in one of these home games soon, I wouldn't mind seeing us go with a 4-4-2. Callum Robinson and Salic up front together. El Ghazi or Tanner on the left. Ashford on the right. Robertson and Chambers, or Robertson and Siopis, or Robertson and Rawls in the middle of midfield. Have a bit of that, me. Bring back 4-4-2, that's what I say. Alex D says, Omar Rhys' Barmy Army. You have to give him credit, mate. Since that Oxford game, which was dire, we have been good. And I think, me included, there was a few of us saying, like, when he first came in, is he too pally-pally with the players? Is that what they need? One thing he has done is brought a very disjointed dressing room together, or certainly together and on the pitch enough that they are fighting, and they are fighting for every ball and every game. And even if they don't play particularly well, like yesterday, they still make sure that they get it. Paul says, typical 6-pointer game, edgy, but we need it. When we added pace, it was the difference. I felt like as soon as we moved the ball quite quickly, Paul, we looked real dangerous, and I thought it was good like that. So Gavin says, I've been looking forward to this all day. Yeah, mate, me too. Appreciate the support, mates. And yeah, look, 7 days a week. At least there's one thing you can depend on, is that every night one of us will be live, or there'll be a video out talking about Cardiff City on this channel every single day. So if you're a Cardiff fan, it's like, what more do you want? All I ask in return, spread the word, tell people, so we can just get the subscribers and stuff up and build channel build. We've got the foundations. We want to just keep building it. And obviously, if you're able to become a member, then superb. But yeah, it's been good. Holton says, anyone who DMs the players is awful. Why these players and celebrities in general have these accounts is beyond me. Yeah, mate, I'm not a fan of social media at all. I'm probably like the wrong person to ask. But like, I need it for what I do. I have to have social media. I'm in the process of trying to get some people to run my socials for me because I don't like it. I don't like social media. I just feel like people generally, like the world, we spend so much time doom scrolling through pointless stuff. It's depressing, isn't it? But on that side of it, stop being on your phone so much, but make sure you go on Cardiff City World all the time, Let's have a look. Alex Sim says, if you actually criticize players online with slurs and abuse, you can be sentenced to life in prison. Is that right, mate? Wow. Martin says, Derby, very physical side. Adams was standout for them. Very strong, very aggressive. Yeah, I think there was definitely a player there, mate. It just didn't work for him here. Like, he obviously had his injury problems, but there was players in front of him, and he never got a go in that central midfield area, really. When he did play, he sort of played at centre-back, and it was, yeah, it's a weird one. Graham says, Cashin was for Derby was great. Yeah, he was one I would love to have seen sign for us, actually. And, yeah, he's a quality player, really good on the ball, but defensively as well. However, as good as he was, and I thought he was probably their best. I thought the standout players for them was the keeper, Cashin, Ebo Adams, and I thought the Salverson up front was good as well. But like Cashin, I thought he's really good on the ball, but I also thought his defensive work was good. But saying that, Ashford beat him a couple of times. Chambers nearly had him, but he fell over and got the free kick. So, even good players can make mistakes. Sue says, not our best performance, but we did enough in the second half to get 3 points. Yeah, ultimately, Sue, I thought when we upped the pace and moved the ball a bit quicker, they struggled with us. When we were pressing and we moved the ball quickly, they did struggle. and we could have been 3 or 4 up. We just didn't take our chances. Martin says, Darland learning the physicality of the Championship. Yeah, it takes time, doesn't it? Just to get used to the league. It's like no other. But you could see from his first game, he had something about him. It was just, could he adapt to the physical side? I believe he's doing quite well. Jeff, well, hi, mate. He says, the most correct-footed positions in the team are right back, left back to me. Yeah, I thought Perry did okay. I was frustrated, but not necessarily with him, if that makes sense. Like, I just felt like surely we could have put a left footer in there, because there was a few times where he had it and he could have just played it up the wing if he was left footed and we'd have been away, but he kind of had to twist his body, or he played it inside. And I thought actually yesterday, I do understand why they didn't just chuck Louis Giles in, but I also thought yesterday at home is probably the game to do it. Like, you're not going to play him against the Leeds away from the start, or I would be surprised if we did. Or at least you wouldn't play him at Leeds away if you weren't going to start him at home against Derby. But yeah, I thought Perry did okay. But it's difficult, isn't it? Because he's been a bit rusty anyway, and then he's playing in a position which is difficult. So it's problematic. JT says it's embarrassing how slow Wales are online are with breaking transfers. The Dutch press beat him to the punch. Yeah, it is. Especially because they've got a direct line to the club through Glenn, so they should be quicker, really. But that Wales online website, mate, I can't go on it anymore. It's unreal, the amount of ads on there. It is like unusable to me. I just can't. Martin says very hard for a right-footed player to play as left back. It is, but do you know one of the best left backs in Premier League history is right-footed, Dennis Irwin. But he was very good with his left. He was decent with his left foot, But Alex says the massive flag that Derby had was covering most of the seats when they scored. It was tiny. Hooray. Sue says back-to-back home wins is a huge boost to try and kick on from. If we can get a point at Leeds, that's great, but not the end of the world. If we don't, Portsmouth, Plymouth are big games. Derby against Bristol. Yeah, there's some games where we've got to take some points from. If we could take a point at Leeds, be very happy, and then you can go into the FA Cup game, rotate it a little bit, give some squad players some time to get up to speed, maybe play a couple of youngsters. I think we'll go in a bit stronger in this next FA Cup game. I don't think it'll be quite as widespread with youngsters. I think it's more likely to be maybe 1 or 2, and then a lot of the squad players. But I'm a bit frustrating is that Stoke have signed Al Hamidi from Ipswich on loan. He was someone who I know we had an interest in the summer. Ticks a lot of boxes for us. He's pacey. He's done it in the Championship. He can play on the wing. He can play in the 10. He can play up front. Thought it was a no-brainer, but maybe with Salic coming in, they didn't. I think they're looking for more of a out-and-out pacey winger now, because they've got Salic, they've got Robinson through the middle. So I think that they're probably looking at like a more of a wide player, but I'm guessing. And also on the home wins as well. Hopefully that can bring the crowds up. I was glad to see that there was a decent crowd there. It wasn't massive, but it was decent, because I was worried that it was going to be low again after the derby, and it's just frustrating. But yeah, good home wins. Paul says thought our second goal was a good team goal. Yeah, it was really, really great. Really was very, very good from the defensive aspect of winning the ball, Robertson, and then the passing, the vision from Robinson, and then the finish from El Ghazi, I'll say again, was not an easy one. It looks easy, like he's just got to knock it into the corner, but he's got a very small area to aim for. And he looks like he'll be like a new signing, because he's so... we all know how gifted he is as a footballer. And I think what people forget is how long he hadn't played. I think it was 18 months. Might not be that long, but like he's been months he didn't play football. And my concern was that he was going to almost take this season to get fit, and then he was going to be out of contract. We were going to let him go, because he hadn't been great, and then he'd go somewhere else and absolutely tear it up because he was fit again. But it looks like he's fit. He looks motivated to show what he can do. So that's exciting because that's like a new signing, and he is quality on his day. He has got a lot. Like on his day, he is by far the most gifted footballer at Cardiff City Football Club. Like at his absolute best. And that's what we've got to get him to, is to his best, because he'll win games for us at his best. Martin says the Chambers decision was it was crazy, mate. And we were in as well, which is the more frustrating thing, isn't it? Is like the defender had fallen over and he was away, and I think we had 2 players in the box. It is frustrating. It's got to be said. Martin says the units of the teams were too disparate in the first half. Yeah, we were just off. They slightly shape and timing, but I think it's good. Gavin says, I know it's a CCFC chat, but seriously, Swansea are falling like a rock. Take a look at their next few fixtures. Mate, do you know what, right? I really hope they stick with Luke, Williams, for a few more games, because I think he's lost the dressing room. I actually quite like him as a manager, say it quietly. I just don't think they've got a very good squad. I'll say it again. Harry Darling is the most overrated centre-back in this league. He is dire. But they all love him because he's a bit of a shithouse and he winds people up. He's rubbish. Rubbish on the ball, rubbish positionally, and very weak physically. He just falls over. Overrated. And the thing for me is, I think they've got 1 or 2 decent players like Franco and that other guy, Cullen, works hard. But they've also got a lot of shit. And I think the manager's lost the dressing room now. And I think, you could tell when he absolutely slaughtered them after the derby that he'd had enough. And they haven't responded to that. I think that apparently they were quite good in midweek until Darling gets sent off. And that was a disgusting challenge. Good enough for him. And then they had the bollocks to appeal it. Like, bizarre. Right, this is one of the things I wanted to talk about. So Martin says, Robertson is a great player at this level, but he's not a number 10 for me. So I think there's 2 aspects to it, Matt, right? Is number 1, he's 21, and I think it's good for him to play, good for his development to play in different midfield positions. A bit like what Joel Colwell's done on his loans. He's played right wing, he's played right wing back, he's played central midfield, he's played an 8, he's played a 6, he's played a 10. It's good for his development. But I think what Omar Rhys and the coaches like about it tactically is his ability to close the space between. So he's really quick over the first few yards. So if we transition forward quickly, he's quick at getting right up with Robinson. And if we lose the ball, he's quick at closing the gap between the midfield. So it makes it very compact very quickly. But he's also very good at winning the ball high up. He's good at pressing and making the other teams, try and rush and move the ball quicker. However, I'd argue that creatively, or technically, should I say, he is more suited to being a bit deeper and seeing the pitch in front of him, because I think he's really good at playing through the lines, playing those switch balls, playing, through balls and stuff like that. I think he's a technically excellent player, and I really like his attitude. What I would like to see at some point soon is I would like to see a midfield of Chambers, Robertson, and Colwell. I would like to see that against like a Plymouth or Portsmouth or whoever, like one of these teams where we got to win. And I'd like to see us go with that and be aggressive with Arena Moto at right back, maybe in a Dowder at left back with like El Ghazi on the left and Ashford on the right, and really go at a team at home. And because I feel like we can play some exceptional football with that setup. Chambers will do the donkey work or the hard work or whatever you want to call it. Let Robertson be like the box-to-box technical player. Ruben in the 10. Robinson running in behind. And then you've got the pace in the wide areas. I would really like to see that system, that formation with that personnel at some point. But I understand it. Chambers had been really good for Siopis, and I think he made a big difference to how Siopis was playing. But I also think he's made a massive difference to how Rawls is playing. I think Chambers has been a bit of a game changer in that middle of midfield. He's allowed others to shine and to grow and to play their natural game. So, like, I'm happy we got options at the moment, like real options. You look at the bench we had yesterday, there was options all over it, depending on what the game situation was. We've still got Ramsey to come back. We've still got Isaac Davis to come back. Atete's not getting in the squad at the moment. I expect him to go on loan. Who else? El Dowda's to come back. Like, we've got so many options. And then if you put in two new signings, say, I just wonder whether someone's got to move out. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I know you need a squad, but you've also got to keep everyone happy and fighting and the rest of it. So it's a tricky one, mate, isn't it? But I agree. I do tend to agree with you. I prefer Robertson as an 8. Alex says, I still think you don't know where Will Fisher is. I found him, mate, a couple of times recently. So it's been good. I've been real impressed with him, I got to say. Really impressed with him. For someone who hasn't played a lot of football, when he stepped in, I think he's been good. And he's young, one for the future. Like, him and Darland are probably the future centre-back pairing. But then when you've got Dylan Lawler, who's 18, captain of the 21s, and doing very, very well, it's one of them, isn't it? Where you just think, yeah, we got a bit of something special brewing with these young players coming through. And he creates chances. Alex Robertson, his passing in vision is very, very good. Martin says, Ashford went past Cashin in the second half with so much ease. That's no mean feat. Yeah, like we just said, Cashin's very good defensively. And I just think he and Ashford, you can see he's growing in confidence. He just needs to have that goldfish brain. Like, he missed that chance, and I thought it didn't fluster him, but he just got a little in his head a bit, only a little bit, and he just needs to just forget about it. And a lot of young players find that easier sometimes than the older players. But let's have a look. Right, we're going to wrap it up in a minute. So if you have got any specific questions about what's coming up or this week or whatever it may be, I'll be back for the preview on Friday, and I'll probably have 1 or 2 videos out this week. I will not be here for the breakdown next Sunday because I'm in hospital, but Matt is going to take over the breakdown next week, so to look after him. He doesn't do a great deal of solo shows on his own, but he's very, very good at it. And I got a lot of faith in him. He's very good at it. And I look forward to watching it myself. I'll watch it from my hospital bed and see what's going on. Let's have a look what else we're saying in these comments before we finish up then. Martin says, other than the goal, I genuinely thought Robinson was very ordinary. However, goals win games. He did his job. I think that's a little bit harsh, but I do understand why people say maybe apart from the goals, he wasn't amazing, because he did get, like, there's a couple of times where his link-up play just, like I said a few times, the timing was just off a little bit. But there's been a virus going through that squad, and I thought, Alex Robertson looked a little bit off it, and you just don't know, when there's a virus going around, it takes so much out of you physically. You might feel better, or you feel all right, but you don't realize how much it's affecting you sort of physically. And this is a great point from Jeff. He says Robertson was getting a lot of stick from fans last year. Yeah, look, I was critical of Callum Robinson last year. I thought his attitude and stuff was poor, and for him to I've said it many times, for him in the summer to have a chat with Bullet and turn it around and return to pre-season, lean, motivated, fit, have a great attitude, but also be playing with the quality that he was, is no mean feat. because not many players come back from falling out with a manager, maybe losing a bit of motivation, stuff like that, and then are able to turn it around. They normally end up moving on. And there was a point towards the end of last season where I said I didn't think we'd see him in a City shirt again. So fair play to him. And that's the example that we should be putting up for the youngsters coming through. Is like, there's going to be times where things get tough, your form goes, or the fans get frustrated with you, you get criticised by the media, whatever it may be. Just get your head down, work hard, and let your talent shine through. And I think it's a great example. Sue says, El Ghazi shows yesterday's villains are today's hero. How good he has been since he came back. Yeah, he looks super motivated. Again, same thing, super motivated, super trim, looks fit, sharp, and ready to go, like, you know. Alex says it's called redemption. Yes, it is, mate. Paul says, I thought Ashford would have passed to Salic. I think in a 6-yard box, you know, any forward's going to shoot, really. And I think he had every right to. He did everything right. He just got a little bit too under it, basically. But, you know, is what it is. Alex says he wants a Salic statue outside the CCS. He's done more than Kanga has already. Yep. David Everton, welcome, mate. He says, Keane Ashford's class. Yeah, 100%, mate. I've been super impressed with him. Since he's got his starting place in the side, he has made it his own. Not just as well in his play on the ball and his attacking play. It's his defensive play. I think he's so clever. They clearly allow him to sort of cheat a little bit in case play breaks down and you can hit him on a break. But as soon as that ball goes out to the opposition's left-hand side winger, he'll sprint back and he wins the ball back so many times. So many times defensively. He does a great job. Yeah, I think he deserves a Welsh call-up, mate. I really do as well. I think he genuinely deserves it. Martin says, Salic had a great run and shot yesterday. His movement impressed me. Yeah, he's strong, mate. And he did well. He created a chance for himself. And another good save from their keeper. Their keeper was very, very good. Very good. Kept him in the game to the point where we had that nervy few minutes. This I 110% agree with. Andrew says, we missed Bagan yesterday. 100%. I think we just missed. No, we missed Bagan because Bagan has been so good this season. And he's been unfortunate that Callum O'Dowd has been one of our better players, because without Callum O'Dowd, I think Bagan probably play week in, week out. We did miss him. I think we just missed having a natural left back or a left footer. And it, I felt for Perry and G a little bit because he just did a job for the team. Paul says, we've got a player on our hands in Salic. When he's on full 90-minute run out, we'll see it more. At the moment, 30 minutes, he does so much, causes problems. Yeah, and I think at the moment, that's good because there's not too much pressure on him and he can kind of just go in. He knows he's only got 30 minutes or 20 minutes and he can put himself about and he can just sprint about pressing. And I think that's so vital when there's not much in it and it's a tight game. You need your substitutions. You need your subs to be able to get about and put themselves about and have an impact. And every time he's come on, he's had an impact. He had an impact against Swansea, he ruffled some feathers. He scores the goal that equalises against Millwall and put himself about, had a couple of chances. And then again, yesterday, he's done the same thing. Martin says, they thought the substitutions were negative yesterday, but they paid off. Yeah, no, they're true. Like I said, I thought the Siopis Colwell sub that he was initially going to make, I thought that was a good idea. But you can't criticise it. It worked. And anything which gets Will Fish on the pitch for me means I'm not going insane and he exists. So I'm happy with it. Sue says, I love Salic and I can't wait for him to be ready to start. He'll really kick on. Yeah, I agree with that. Rhys Lasky says, someone needs to show tape to Rhys of Louis Giles tearing up Southampton back last year. Surely a left footer is the way to go, even though Perry did decent enough. Yeah, he's got way more experience. I think the Leeds game is probably too much, but I'm the same as you, mate. I rate Louis Giles so much, and it's his the delivery that he has with his left foot when he overlaps. we lack that sometimes when O'Dowd doesn't play. Bagan doesn't quite get forward as much as O'Dowd, because O'Dowd is a natural winger, isn't he? But Louis Giles is defensively solid and pacey. He's young, he's athletic, gets forward, but it's his delivery. His crossing is excellent. And when you've got Salic on the pitch, you need to be putting crosses in there. So having the likes of Tanner, having Al Ghazi, having Louis Giles given a chance. I would like to see him given a chance. I don't think the Leeds game is the right one for him. I wonder two things. I wonder whether this Leeds game, and I will have a proper look at Leeds and how they set up and some of their tactical stuff before I do the preview. But just off the top of my head, I wonder whether we might be suited at Leeds away to go in 3 at the back with the wing backs. And I haven't really thought this through, so bear with me. But like going Darlin, Fish, and Gutas as your 3. You could even put Bagan, if he's fit, as the left-hand side of the 3, if you wanted to. And then have Tanner or Dowder as your left back, wing back if they're back. Or even, probably not Louis Giles away from Chambers and Robertson. Chambers and Rawls maybe with Siopis. With, Ruben in front. Or even, because you'll have the dual 10s, you could have like Robinson, and Ruben behind Salic. So you set up really defensively solid. You've got the 3 at the back. You've got Chambers and Robertson. You've got Rinamoto on the right-hand side. You've got a more attacking option on the left-hand side. And then you have Ruben and Callum Robinson behind Salic. But then you're leaving El Ghazi out, and I think El Ghazi deserves a start. I think we'll stick with the same system we've been playing. It works. I would not be shocked to see El Ghazi get a start. I wonder whether we might go with Rolls at left back if no one's fit, because Leeds have got some good wingers, and I wonder whether he might go with Rolls. So you've got a natural left footer at left back, and then you can put Siopis and Chambers, or Chambers and Robertson, or someone in midfield. Like I would just wonder if it's an option if Bagan and O'Dowd and that's not back. Let's have a look. Who else we've got? Martin says Giles against Leeds would be a massive ask with the pace they have wide. Yeah, it's just a big ask, big atmosphere in it. It'd be very, very big ask to ask him to start his first start in the league. I think it would be his first start. Yeah, Bagan, I would have thought will hopefully be back if he's had illness. Right. Let's have a look. Rhys says, I'm sure in time you'll need a bigger venue. So, yeah, maybe. I was actually offered an arena to do something, but I felt it was a bit too soon for me, but, we'll see. Rhys says he'll be joining the membership very soon. No, mate, it's all right. I understand fully. January is rough on everyone, rough on us all, mate. I know only too well. So don't stress. Like I said, I really, really would enjoy. Obviously, we depend on it. Like the more people who can join as members, the better. But just make sure you're subscribed and all that good stuff. Monday, the members show tomorrow night, but we have the Cardiff City phone in at 7. I love Harry Darling, Richard. Yeah. Top defender. Overrated. Tomorrow night, Cardiff City phone in 7 o'clock. Members show 9 o'clock. Tomorrow at 1 o'clock in the day, little podcast with me and Lakey, Tony Rivers talking Derby and Cardiff and everything at the moment. And then we've got all sorts of stuff coming up this week. Tuesday, the Flower Hour. Wednesday, the debut of my new radio show, which will be interesting. Never know who's going to turn up to you. But, and you still got Turnbull to come back as well. That's a good point, Andrew. So, yeah, there's all sorts. So, I appreciate that, Suze. Thank you very much. I am not looking forward to it, but it is what it is, isn't it? Cheers, Paul. Yeah, Mayte got the best to cash in as well. I thought Mayte done decent, mate. got to be honest. Yeah, cheers, Alex. Thank you very much. Evening, Bradley. Lou, Rhys's man management goes under the radar. Yeah, I think I agree, mate. That's I think I touched on it a little bit earlier. Like at the start of his reign, I questioned it because I was like, is that what these players need? I think because I felt like some of them need like a bit of kick up the arse, like almost, because I was frustrated with the players. But I think as it's gone on, he's brought that squad together, and you've got to give him credit for that. You have to. Dan James is like lightning on that right-hand side. So who's your best option? Who's your quickest left-back? He's probably Louis Giles, in fairness, but I don't know. We'll see. Depends if James plays left or right, I suppose. Guys, as always, it's been a massive pleasure. Always enjoy the Sunday night shows. Make sure you check out the podcast, which we drop tomorrow at lunchtime. And, of course, make sure you tune in for the Cardiff City phone-in tomorrow night from 7 on Cardiff City World. Cardiff City content, 7 days a week. By fans, for fans. We love it. You love it. Keep the faith, my friends, and spread the word. Get your friends, get your people, get your family to sign up to Cardiff City World. And if you can, become a member as well. I will see you. Don't think I'm on the member show tomorrow, so I'll see you Tuesday morning for the rumour mill. Although I have got a podcast out tomorrow with Tony Rivers. In the meantime, I bid you farewell. Take care, my friends. Have a good evening and finish the weekend in style. Take care.